Why test and tag? Well, I suppose we've both got an interest in health and safety and always have had. And coming from the UK, it is a very regulated environment. Perhaps we've been aware since we've arrived in New Zealand that things may be a little bit more relaxed. So it was an area that A, we've got an interest in, and B, that we both felt we could make a bit of a difference.
I just think sometimes you get to a point in your life where you need to do something different. When I came out of high school, I had no great plans on being a nurse. I just kind of fell into that. And although specifically the last 4 years I have really enjoyed my job, I just think it's time for a change. And hubby and I have, since coming together as a couple, our life's journey has made more sense to go together, and this is something that we're going to be doing together, and it seems to be working really well so far.
Well, the thought's basically been in the mind for years. Like, I've always had an interest in the electrical field, and in the last couple of years, Stacey and I have been talking about the idea of changing occupations. I've wanted to get out of my field of work, which is farming, and in the last year, about October last year, just happened to see an advertisement in the paper for Jim's Test and Tag in Mackay, looking for franchisees in Mackay and Rockhampton region. So I thought I'd give it a call and find out more about it. I really didn't know much about it at the start, and just speaking to Greg and his wife came around one night and we had a further chat for another 3 hours, and then the ball started rolling, really.
Well, C and I were looking for a business we could work in together. Something that would utilise both our skills from our previous lives, myself being a mechanic and C being a charity manager, rather than working in a business but separate jobs, so we wouldn't see much of each other. With this business we can actually spend a fair bit of time together and bring each other along in our different skill sets. With my technical background, I can help Celia along with the testing, and Celia with a managerial background can help me along with that side of things. So it's a very good fit for what we've done in the past.
I suppose we all see electrical as a male-dominated industry, but it's good. It is good for both of us because the guys have been so welcoming and has made a big thing that we're the first female franchisees. So from my perspective, I think it's great. Like, I'm having just as much fun as the boys, and there's been none of that boy-girl culture. It's all like we're a group, and I haven't felt in any way that I haven't been able to ask questions. And sometimes when you get in that boy-girl environment and it is a male-dominated environment, you tend to feel a little bit reclusive and you don't want to ask for fear of making a fool of yourself, but it's been absolutely great. So I think there's a very supportive culture for more women to come into gyms, especially into Test and Tag.
Well, I suppose the whole process, it is a journey. Looking back on the time that I've spent training, I've appreciated, first of all, the change. There's been a significant change from when I first started to how I feel now. I feel much more comfortable. I feel ready to actually go out and support people with their health and safety obligations. And I think the other big thing is the support you get from the other people that are sharing that journey with you. Help is only a phone call away if you ever need it.
Franchise doesn't have the best reputation, certainly from the UK where we come from, it doesn't have a very good reputation at all. And I was sceptical initially, but the more people I spoke to within the trade, within the actual gyms network, the more convinced I became that it was actually pretty sound, and the support behind you is first rate. You don't get left alone. If you're going wrong or making mistakes, you're being watched, you're being monitored. It's not Big Brother, it's very friendly, it's very one-to-one. You're not dealing with faceless people in the back or beyond. They're guys you see every day and you get on with. It's just like a family, and there's always help, always support.
We had invested some time in looking at other franchises, and they just weren't what we were interested in. Like, they had a set fee that they took every month depending on what you made. So if you're only making $25,000, they were still taking a huge amount of that. The fees are a lot. They're quite minimal in gyms, and that's what we were happy with, and it wasn't based on what we earned. We could earn as much, but the fee was still the same. And talking to a couple of the other franchises, there just didn't seem to be the support there. It was just, you buy the franchise, you spend a lot of money to actually set one up if it's new. One of the ones that we looked at, if we were going to do it straight from the start, it was like $500,000 to set it up in a new building, new equipment, everything, potentially down to $250,000 to buy one that had all been set up. But yeah, there was just kind of you buy it and you just move on and try and run it the best you can. And even just talking from managers from other franchises in the shopping centre where we live, yeah, they've had a high turnover of staff and they've had a high turnover of managers simply because there's not that support there and people get really disillusioned with what's going on. And that's kind of not the way that John and I wanted to go. It's like from looking at gyms, when we spoke to Greg Vollmer House, it was initially from the start, Greg and Tony, his wife, came out to our home. It was comfortable, we had a good chat to them. It wasn't straight into, you know, selling gyms. It was like, you know, what are your plans? And we kind of got talking about our future, which suited the gyms franchise once we got into more details.
So our plan is to work alongside each other, hone our skills so that we're both comfortable, and grow our client base really so that we've got a good business, because obviously that's important. We'll probably diversify a little bit. There are opportunities for doing all sorts of things, and I suspect that in time my partner may spend a bit more time on the tools than me, and maybe I'll be helping other people to come into the business and grow their own businesses.
People say, oh, you know, you're going to be spending so much time with hubby. We've just had like all this time together and it's been great. Like we haven't fought over anything. We haven't, you know, it's been of a night time, we'll sit down and go through it together. And we've got plans when we go home to go and do cold calling. One will cold call while one's doing the work, meet up at the coffee shop and go, well, what did we do good? What do we need to improve? And I enjoy feeding off him and he obviously enjoys feeding off me. So yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. And we can both look at that and go, well, this is the start of our new future. We're both really positive about it. So yeah, I can't see there being any problems at all.
Need it done, Jim's the one.